Gents, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing okay. In today's video, I wanted to discuss the importance of not trying to rush your success and going about things in the proper way. You see, a lot of guys right now are putting themselves under tremendous pressure. Tremendous pressure. They're seeing what's going on online. They're seeing the lives that people are projecting through Instagram, through TikTok, through YouTube. The best life that they're putting out there, and they're making a comparison about their life to the lives of people that put out content. And they're questioning themselves, and they're starting to doubt themselves. They're really damaging their self-worth because they're saying, well, this person is 18 years old and he's on a yacht in Dubai. Or this person is just 21 years old and they're owning their own business which turns over millions of revenue every single year. And I'm here and I'm not doing what I want to be doing. So what they do is they say to themselves, well, you know what? I need to go. I need to make a change. I need to ramp up my efforts. And what they will do, meaning well, is ramp up their efforts, ramp up their intensity, but do it to a point where it is unsustainable. They do it to a point where they cannot continue for too long before becoming exhausted, before becoming burnt out. And then they give up. And they'll have moments of motivation. They'll have peaks, but eventually it'll all come back to that same repeating cycle whereby they try something really hard for a short period of time and then burn out and give up. And a lot of guys are struggling with this right now. It is so important to get it inside your head that it doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It takes time. And we have to accept that. Because anything other than accepting that is punishing yourself every single day until you achieve your goal. And a lot of guys have done that and eventually become successful. But it's never enough. When they get there, they don't appreciate it. When they arrive to the point that they thought would make them happy, that they thought would fulfill them, they need something more. Because that's never really going to fulfill you. You've got to accept that it's going to take some time. It's not going to be today. It's not going to be tomorrow. But you must never accept that it's not going to be. You should never accept that you are not going to have the life that you want. You don't know when it's going to come, that's another thing. But you know it's going to come. And every single day you just have to keep going. And keep going. And keep going. In a sensible way, in a controlled way. You don't want to be pushing yourself to the point of burnout. Because the thing about hustle culture is that it is excellent to a degree. A lot of guys get to a certain point whereby they have nothing more to give. A lot of guys get to a certain point where they are flat out drained. And it's all good going really hard today, but just make sure you can turn up tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Because those are the guys that will be in the history books. Not the people who can go really, really hard for 2 rounds. Those boxers who you watch that you think, wow, you know, you just have to survive those 2 rounds because he's ruthless, he's relentless. Those guys who just are so strong, they're so powerful, their shots are so damaging that the strategy for the opponent is to just get through those first few rounds. And then after that they have a chance, but you don't want to be the guy who is known for getting people out of there early, but then if they can't, struggles, starts to drown. You know, that is what separates great fighters from champions. You want to be able to give it everything you've got, be a guy who can get people out of there, but also be a guy that can go the distance. And this goes back to the game of success as such. It's all good being able to exert bursts of high volume and bursts of energy and have a really super productive day. Or a week where you've done great things, but make sure you're there next week and the week after and the week after, because history won't remember the guys who turn up when they feel like it. History won't remember the guys who show up when they are motivated. They will remember the guys who show up every single day regardless of how they feel. The guys who don't bank on their emotions. And those guys are going to be there because they're not thinking about the end result. They're there because they love what they're doing. They're there because they really care about what they are building. Normally the guys who have these bursts of energy are the guys that are thinking about the money. The guys that are thinking about the end goal. And that's not a motivation that is going to keep you going day in and day out and day in and day out for weeks and years on end. You need a motivation, of course. And normally that is something that needs to be bigger than yourself. For a lot of people it's God. For a lot of people it's their future children. For a lot of people it's the security and stability and safety that they want to give their future family. I don't know you, I don't know what it is. But you got to have a deeper motivation than this material thing at the end of the line, because it's not going to sustain you. You need to be one of the guys who is just there day in and day out. Because anything other than that isn't going to yield the rewards that you are looking for. But to round things off, you don't want to be a guy who is so fixated on doing things within a certain time frame. Because when you're rushing constantly, it's a very stressful time. You're quite literally damaging your physical health. You're quite literally damaging your mental health. A sense of urgency is very important. I've talked about it on this channel. But living in this frantic manner goes against one of the very pillars of masculinity, which is stoicism and calmness. You know, when you are meeting up with people and you see a guy who is just rushing from one thing to the next. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. You know, it was just the train, it was just the bus, it's just, you know, oh, crazy day. No, calm. Now, I'm not saying be late. I'm not saying lower your standards. But what I am saying is just put one foot in front of the other and keep going. You know, the guys that start the race and bolt from the get-go, they cover a lot of ground. And they do really, really well to start with. But we're running a marathon here, guys. We're not running a sprint. And down the line, when we're a few miles down, those guys are going to get passed by. And they're going to get left behind, left in the dirt. And the guys that pace themselves, the guys that understood the importance of just getting through it, just putting one foot in front of the other, forgetting about the timings, forgetting about appearing to do well quickly, because they understand the bigger picture, those guys will do well. Those guys are going to finish the race. Those guys are going to be in the history books. This is why we look at a guy like David Goggins, and we hold him in such high regard. A guy like David Goggins runs for days, not hours, days. And we understand the mental strength that must take. We can't comprehend it, but we understand it. And that's why we hold that in such high regard. Because that is a guy who's not trying to win every race he competes in. He's not trying to be the fastest, the quickest, achieve a result in the fastest possible manner. No. He is trying to push himself to go the distance. He's trying to push himself to go as far as he can. And that is what it will take for most people. Not in a physical sense, not everybody has to do the Goggins stuff. He's a unique man, but if you switch that and you put it in the context of your own life, that is most likely what it is going to take for you to achieve your goal. going the distance, pushing yourself as far as you can go, but being able to sustain that day in and day out. These guys who are hopping on trends, these guys who are here this week, gone the next, they're not going to be remembered because they are trying to grab hold of an outcome and grab hold of that outcome quickly. Where you might separate yourself is being a guy who says, yes, I want an outcome at some point or another down the line, but I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on enjoying the process, and I am focusing on becoming more skilled, becoming more valuable, becoming a better man. And then we'll see. When it's going to be, I don't know, but it is going to be. And when you change your mindset and you start thinking in this way, things become easy. It doesn't seem like this stress is constantly over your head. You know you're going in the right direction. You've just taken off the pressure as to when that's going to be. And normally, in a weird kind of way, that speeds it up. And that brings the thing you want even quicker. But when you fixate yourself on time and you fixate yourself on speed, in a weird kind of way, it slows it down. So forget about it and just put one foot in front of the other and keep going. And most importantly, keep growing. Okay? If you took some value from this video today, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel for much more from me, and please comment your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what you've got to say about this topic and how this implicates you in your life. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for your time and attention, and I'll see you in the next one.